going into my basketball. Every time I rock, man, this is how we rap and raw. Peace to my man, now we got the camera out. Every time I spit it, cross over the...
All right, hello everyone, this is Josh, also known as Yashu, and you're tuning into episode 56 of the TLOY TALKS podcast. You know, you can get this podcast on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, you know, much more and all that, and need I say more? You know, I think I always like say the drill like every other time and all that, but we'll definitely get it started right here and all that, you know. So we actually have like a legendary person in the building and all that, you know, entrepreneur, owns his own brand called B.Famillion company, which is also like a record label. They also focus more on the hemp industry and all that. He's been making music for a while, you know, does like a lot of like shows like in the management side and all that, has put in like a lot of work from what I've heard. And, you know, we have Tao Piccasso in the building. How are you doing today, man?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. You know, just conversating from you early on today. It's like very like interesting how, you know, you actually managed one show like a while back with like an artist that I actually had in the pod a while back, Tara Lord and all that. And, you know, just like watching all your other content, you know, it's like very like interesting and all that too. And like we don't really have like a lot of like entrepreneurs like that actually come by like on the pod like that. So having you on here, it's going to be interesting, you know?
Yeah. This is my first stop. Because I'm about to start promoting my new project called Redemption.
All right.
And it's basically I took 2.5, 3 years off.
Oh, true.
I had to get my mental right. I had to get my body back, you know. And I was cooking up the whole time, so I got a lot of stuff I'm about to start knocking it down with. And you know, it's time to be consistent now.
No, 100% too, man. And you know, when I was like doing my research for a bit, you know, you actually grew up in Rexdale. So
yes, sir.
What was like the environment like for you growing up as a kid at the time? Would you say like it was like kind of blessed, or was it like very different?
I was always good. You know what? You know, in life you got ups and downs. So it was growing up in Rexdale was different, right? But where I'm from, Queensplate, QP City, shout out to the hood. I was always spoiled around there. You know what I mean? They call me the king out there. So I'm always chilling. I'm always good. But I've always been through some certain situations where, you know, things didn't go in my favor.
Yeah, man.
But it is what it is. It's part of life, right?
Yeah, man. And I mean, like a person within like your age range and all that, you know, like 30s, like I don't know, like 40s and all that, you know, you kind of grew up around the time when like hip hop was like very pivotal in like Toronto and all that too. You know, you've had the Jellystones, the Maestros, and then I mean Rexdale, like it had like Illy, Payback, and then
Infinite,
like, Infinite, and then like a lot of like the younger cats too and all that, like with Pyrex and like Milo First and all that. Yeah. So like, I mean with Rexdale, like tell me more about like that legacy, like at that time and it being like a big place for music and all that. Like, was it as big as was like people said and all that, or?
Well, Rexdale is what everyone thinks it is. It's a grimy place, but if you're from there, it could be home. I have a lot of good times in the hood, you know what I mean? But you know, we have a lot of talent from the hood too, like a lot of talent. And there's like even the people that we just mentioned, like from legends to the newbies right now. Like I would say that Moolah's killing things right now, right? Pyrex is doing really well, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so Infinite, he's a legend, right? They just did something for Infinite, for the OGs. Right? The history thing?
I think so, yeah. I mean, right? I remember they were doing some content stuff for a bit. I mean, I remember, I think, not director, it's like 40. He had like this like one video with like Pyrex and all that. Yeah. And they were like encapsulating the whole like Rexdale scene with Pyrex and with Finna Starts Music. Like this is like when he was like with like Def Jam and all that.
Yeah.
Pillaby, who I also had like on the platform, you know.
Pilla's
also, yeah, he was like also in the video too. And you know, it's pretty interesting to like see and all that too. And like I've met like a lot of like young cats from like Rexdale that are like doing well in music and all that. So it's interesting.
We have a lot of talent coming from there, and we're very dominant, right? And the only thing I said we're lacking is it's like, you know, we have our politics. There's a lot of politics in this game right now. So it's like if the artists could just stay away from the politics or just focus on their careers right now and focus on their brands, it would be in an amazing spot. But shout out to 40 for shedding light on Rexdale. Rexdale's fire.
Ah, true, 100%, man. And you know, what were you like growing up at that time? You know,
I was a wild boy. I was always wild. If anybody knows me, they know the tail was crazy. You know what I mean? I calmed down a little bit. Calm down. I'm more about the business game, but you know, growing up in Rexdale, it's like, remember, I was the oldest child. So when something happens outside of my household, I can't go home to run to nobody. So I had to be that guy. I had to be the lion in the land of lion, tigers and bears and all that.
No, exactly.
And Rexdale even stands for Valley, King of Valleys. That's the original meaning of Rexdale.
Yeah.
So you have to be a beast out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember like Rexdale was like the second most well-known like area within Toronto after like Regent Park and all that, and you know, it shed like on like a lot of people like who grew up in the community with Jamestown, with Mount Olive. Like I remember I was like watching like this like one video from like CTV. They had like a whole like documentary where, not even a documentary, it's like a movie series where they talked about Jamestown and all that.
Oh, the Doomstown movie?
Yeah.
That was trash. That had nothing to do with Jamestown, with the real Doomstown. You know what I mean? So when they did that, I was like, okay, this is stupid. I watched it, but this is dumb. That came out like 2006, right?
Yeah, like CTV. I think they did something on that, and they've had like some Canadian actors on that, and
it was horrible.
Oh.
Throw that in the garbage. You know what I mean? But because I know the OGs. Like, you know what I mean? I know the young bulls. I know everything. So it's like when I watched that, I'm like, you guys just watered down Jamestown like a mother. You know what I mean? So I wasn't really feeling that.
True.
Yeah.
100%, man. And you know, what was like your first introduction to like music, entrepreneurship, and like even with the whole like weed industry and all that?
Well, I didn't really tap into the weed industry full throttle yet. I just know when it got legalized, I wanted to do something with it, right? And I looked like with music. When I was a kid, like my dad knew how to rap and sing and break dance and all that. And growing up with my pops, because I was a bad kid growing up, so my mom sent me to America to go live with my dad. So my dad was always put me on, like I used to listen to Puffy and, you know what I mean, Ready to Die. My dad put me on the Fat Boys, Ice-T. He put me on the old school joints, you know what I mean? Love Bug Star Ski, like everything, like the Cold Crush, like, you know what I mean? Like, he put me on those type of records. But Criss Cross is the reason why I wanted to rap. I seen those little kids rapping, and they would say some fly stuff, and they were looking fly. And I was like, yo, I wanna do that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, man. I think Too Bad to Be True, like they were like a young Canadian duo. I felt like they were like the like B-list like version of Criss Cross and all that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they had like a couple guys that were like singing and all that, like the light-skinned guy, like Casper's Dead and all that, like he was like singing and all that, and I think this other dude too, and like they've had like that whole like one track Mind song that was like popular like everywhere and all that, like it had like a Juno and all that, so you know, I could definitely like understand that, you know.
Criss Cross made me want to rap. And being an entrepreneur, that was just like, it's hand in hand. I never wanted to get signed to a record label unless it was a distribution.
Oh, true.
Right? And then growing up, I always, from early, B.Famillion has always been like, always been a crew. There's some people in my team that don't even rap, don't even do music, don't even act. The regular 9-to-5 people, but they're down with B-Dot. Like, you know what I mean? They're Famillionaires.
Oh, true.
So being an entrepreneur, I was always a boss. I was always a leader.
Oh, true.
And I always wanted more for myself. I never wanted to settle.
Oh, true.
Right? So that was just hand in hand, doing music, being an entrepreneur. And as you said, with the cannabis thing,
like it was like
I had a partner with the Stay Fly movement. And he's the actual one that brought the idea to me. And then, you know, they legalized weed at this time. And I was like, yes, we started doing trays, rolling papers, we started doing all of that, all the paraphernalia stuff. But the moment we couldn't get into weed like that, because you need licensing, there's a whole list of things that you gotta do in order to have your own strain, you know what I mean? So what we came up with gummies. You know what I mean? We had a person that was making them, and we just put it on the logo, and I started selling those hard body.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? That's but you know, that's past tense.
Yeah. I know what you mean, man. And how did you like even with the whole like idea of like entrepreneurship, like you said you started like at the age of 14, like in a previous interview. So how did that like mindset like come about like within like those two areas within music and entrepreneurship?
Well, my favorite artist always, and you know, at that time it's like you looked at Puff had Bad Boy. You look at Jay had Rock. You look at any main artists, they have a crew behind them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a crew, sometimes it's a record label, right? And I always looked at B.Famillion as my crew. And, you know, as a registered company, there's so much things that you can learn that you can benefit off of it. So me being an artist, I'm gonna rap forever. I don't care. It's just a gift in me. But what if you don't want to only just do music? You can want to do film. You want to do fashion. You want to do this. You want to do that. You just put it under one umbrella. You know what I mean? So that's what entrepreneurship meant to me. Is like owning something that I can pass on to my children. No one could fire me. I work when I want to work. I do what I want. And no one could tell me nothing.
Yeah.
I create in my own space. I don't have to ask nobody for handouts to do whatever I got to do.
Yeah.
I can do it by myself. And I just bring my team with me and I hire people to do a lot of things for me. You know what I mean? So that's basically, being a boss it should be everyone's goal. No matter what you do, like you have a podcast, you run your podcast, right?
Yeah.
You're the boss. You know what I mean? You have a partnership with whoever,
Yeah.
but you still have ownership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you're getting a house, you want to rent your house or do you want to own it?
Yeah.
When you get a car, you can't wait for your payments to be paid off.
Yeah.
You want to own your shit.
Yeah.
So ownership is just mandatory.
Yeah.
Anything I do, I want to touch it and put my stamp on it.
Yeah, and almost definitely too, like, especially like, you know, with me, like running a media platform, all that, like I work with like other people to formulate like, you know, certain things and all that to make things work. If we work at a photo studio, we like tap in with the people who own the photo studio or who do like certain stuff and all that. Or if I ever have to have like a contract person like come for me, you know, we do that. And then like we just own the content that we kind of make from there and all that. But we do give credit to like what's due and all that. And like that's important within establishing relationships, as you said too, with like businesses. It's like kind of vital to getting everything together and all that. Without that, you know, like the whole like setup is kind of unaligned and all that. So
Yeah.
I know what you mean, man. And you know, I was like watching like some old videos back then. You were doing the whole like fam TV vlogging, fam Empire series. So tell me more about that, and you know, especially at a time like when vlogging wasn't as crazy back then, because this was like I think late 2000s.
Yeah. So I didn't know what I was doing. I just know we had a camcorder and we were just recording. Everywhere we went, we recorded, whether we're in the studio, whether we're at a show, whether it's just regular life. Some of those vlogs, we were just chilling in the crib drinking and smoking. You know what I mean? Me, my sisters and my brothers were just chilling. You know what I mean? So I just started like doing that. I wasn't really getting a buzz from it. And it was like tiring. You have to do it all the time. And I'm very like secluded. I don't like people to know everything about my life.
Yeah.
So that was fire. But some of my old videos, I look back at them, I reminisce and I laugh. Because I know I'm about to do 10 times better. But you have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got a hang of it after just watching people doing vlogs. And I used to watch my sisters and my mom, they used to watch a lot of vlogs, like hair tutorials and all these type of things. So I'm like, I can put a twist on it and do it myself. And I'm going to swear in it. And I'm going to drink and I'm going to smoke. And like Famillion, like B.Famillion, we're some fly dudes. We do different things out the box. We don't drink what everybody else drinks. We don't smoke how everybody else smokes. We don't dress how everybody else dresses. We don't talk the way everybody else talks. So it's like doing the vlogs, and I should start doing it again.
Yeah.
Doing the vlogs made people, like, other than the music and other than this, they get to see it behind the scenes of how we live and what we're doing and all that.
Yeah.
So I think I need to bring that back.
Yeah, no, 100% too. I think at that time when you were doing it, I think YouTube had like, you know, like very like less restrictions back then, because, you know, people could like even like upload like porn back then on YouTube and all that, and like all this other type of stuff too, like beheadings and that type of stuff. Now it's like when you try to upload, especially like if you're trying to like monetize and all that,
Yeah.
like you have to worry about like if it's like, you know, copyrighted content or if it's like inappropriate and all that. And you know, sometimes, you know, YouTube doesn't play anymore and all that. It's like very safe as it is. So it's just like knowing what you could do and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Knowing your limitations, but I always like stepping on the line. Like, don't go overboard, but, you know, stand on the line.
Nah, 100% too, man. And who would you consider like your main inspirations in terms of like your journey within music and entrepreneurship?
Artist wise?
Just like all around in general, like
overall?
whether like in music or in entrepreneurship.
Well, my motivation, what keeps me motivated is my mother, my kids, you know, my sisters, my bros, my nieces, nephews. You know what I mean? Because they're looking at me. They're like, okay, something got to give. right? So they motivate me. But like industry wise, it will always be Tupac, Dame Dash, and 50 Cent. Like it's not even like 50's not the most lyrical artist, but he's a powerhouse. He gets the job done, and he's a bad guy. Dame Dash, he gets the job done, and he's a bad guy. Pac, he was legendary, but a lot of people looked at him like the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? So those three guys, you put them together, and it comes me.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Those are my motivations right there.
Yeah, and I mean with Jay and 50 Cent and Dame Dash and all that, they've looked at, other like influences too, like back then that kind of helped them with an entrepreneurship. I remembered, I think 50 co-signed like the 48 like laws of power and all that by like Robert Greene and all that. And some people like even like read it to this day and all that, and like other people like they'll read like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or like they'll read anything from like Warren Buffett and all that too. So when you even like look at their influences too, like it expands back to further with Tupac. It's like he was like looking into 80s rappers like Rakim, Eric B, and all that, LL Cool J and all that, and even just with the Black Panther Party too. So I think everyone has like unique like influences on their own that kind of like lead back to other people and all that, and I think it just keeps that cycle going and all that.
Yeah. And see, like even that, like if we're gonna go far back, we could talk about LL Cool J, because LL Cool J was, to this day, he's a dominant artist, actor, entrepreneur. He's a boss with the Rock the Bells, right?
Yeah.
So like, and growing up, my dad used to teach me about those type of guys.
Yeah.
But what I grew up seeing in the early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s were those three guys. Like anything they did, I was on it. If Pac dropped a movie, Gridlock, Above the Rim, anything he did, I was on it, right? 50 Cent is like, before I came here, I was watching Power.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm caught up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had a crazy show in Toronto too. And Dame Dash, like a lot of people cut Dame slack, but Dame's still rich. He still does what he wants to do.
True.
You know what I mean? And he doesn't set the bar here. Nowadays everyone wants to rap, or everybody wants to have a podcast. Everybody wants to have a clothing line. Everybody wants to do this. And he takes it, he thinks about it, takes it, and brings it to the next level. And that's what I have in common with Dame. That's what Dame taught me.
Yeah.
Have a crew and sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do and own it. Right? You put those guys together, I'm telling you. Put those three rappers together, those three dudes together, and that's me.
100% too, man. And, even like the whole, like, B.Famillion company, like, coming into rise and all that. And, like, when it came about and all that, like, what was, like, that process, like, from start until now in terms of creating this successful brand and all that?
I want to thank you for saying that we're successful, but we're about to turn up just now. It was just an idea, Some people wanted to be Crips and Bloods and be a part of other people's crews and all that. And I looked at my surroundings, my sisters, my bros, my kids, brother-in-law. I looked at everything like that. I'm like, I can make my own team. So I basically just told everybody, like, yo, we Famillion. I mean, Sadie, Bonds, Lynx, Rel, down to my kids, they all Famillion too. So it's like, and it's a way of life. It's more than just a label. It's more of a movement, right? Because we're 20 years plus still repping Famillion, you know what I mean? So that, like, Famillion's life to me, you know what I mean? It's everything for me. You know what I mean? And for everybody else, we're just the mother company. So I have companies under Famillion. My bros are under Famillion. My sisters, my kids are under Famillion. So it's like, that's always going to be there no matter what.
True. No, 100% too, man. And, with your first major project, so, like, let's say if it's, like, whether, like, clothing or anything else too, like, when you first started that major project, how did you approach it? And, like, what was, like, that process, like, starting from scratch until the project was, like, complete and all that?
My first project was Blur Part 1. That was a double CD, double mixtape.
True.
And I had 25 songs on each side, which was crazy. But they're not like, there was probably like 10 original songs, and the rest of them were just like dubs and freestyles and all that other stuff. And I look at it now and I'm like, I gave them a lot of content, you know what I mean? But I was doing a lot of shows at that time. So I will, like, say if the newest record that will make the club erupt, I will get on that joint. Like, say a Millie came out, and I will go kill that beat. and then I'll put it on my mixtape. So my brother Lynx, he had a studio in his house, right? So we used to record there, and then when I want to do like an original record, I would go to my homie Cortez, for Sound Studios, right? So I go to Cortez, and I've been working with Cortez for 25 years.
Oh, true.
So if it's not Cortez recording me, it's Lynx recording me. And at that time, I was it was 2005, 2004, and I dropped that. But that was before like you could put music on the internet, so I was selling them hand to hand. And trust me, I went diamond in these streets.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? I was selling them at every college. I was in bus stops, train stations. I was at the malls. I was everywhere. Caravana Weekend had a backpack full of them. 2 toonies and a loony. That was the hustle.
True.
You know what I mean? And that came and went. But off of that project, I've learned, don't give out so much content.
Oh, true.
I've learned from every project that I did, right? And now this is project number 8 now. So Redemption's project number 8. So I learned a lot.
Oh, true.
So I feel like I know how to kill this shit now.
Yeah, like I know what you mean, and like a lot of people like back then too, like in the late 2000s, mid 2000s, like they were like handing out their mixtapes like crazy and all that too. Like I remembered Paige, who worked with this guy with Drake and all that.
Holy Paige,
like,
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Like he did like the whole like I'm so fly and all that. I remembered he had like his photo of like his project and all that on like I think one of the areas at like Yonge and Dundas and all that, where I think the 7-Eleven used to be and all that, and like it would like cover like that area from there. Like this is before like that whole like Ryerson building guy next door was like made and all that. So yeah, those are like some interesting times too. And like I remembered I was hearing like, you know, Tory Lanez was like also like handing out like CDs back then too and all that. I think I might have noticed him like way back then too, but yeah, like those are like some crazy times and all that.
Yeah. Well, that was a great time, but that was when like everyone sound different.
Yeah.
No one sound the same at that time.
Yeah, and like I mean, like there was like a shitload of like clubs in Toronto and all that, like governments and all that, Cool House, like you know, you had
the docks, everywhere. Phoenix, before it was stadium, it was Phoenix. Yeah. We were outside. Like when I'm talking about we were outside, it was like 20 millionaires in the spot, spending money, telling the DJ play my music. That's how you have to do. We had Project Bounce at that time. Remember that?
Oh, true.
Project Bounce.
I think
DJ
so, yeah.
Grouch. That's where Ritz started from and all that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ritz. Shout out to Grouch and shout out to Law.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember going down and trying to get my records on there.
Yeah.
Bugging them. Like I'd play my record. And then Ritz was the first one to play my record. DJ Grouch played my records. Like, you know what I mean? That was a great time. That's when you really had to hustle. Now you could just stay in your phone.
Yeah.
And get connects from your phone.
Yeah. Kind of separates like the new school artists from like the old school ones too,
Yeah.
because I remembered I think there was like a whole lot of like spots back then where people were just like out and about and all that. Like I mean, I think Queen and Bathurst at one time, like that area beside the Pizza, like that used to be like an actual like nightclub and all that. Like next door, like Harlem, like Underground and all that was like just a couple steps away and all that, and like a whole lot of like other stuff too. Like Tattoo was just like on the other one too, like for like the mid 2000s. But yeah, like those were like some crazy times.
It was
like
a great time.
even like the Baby Bash or Baby Blue like sound crew and all that.
Shout out to Baby Blue.
And
Kid, was it Kit Kat?
yeah, and like I think I remember they had like this one project back then, and like they added like Juvenile and like other stuff from like Universal like on those projects and all that. So,
yeah. That was a great time, and that was like only a selective few was really signed at that time, right? Like you had Cardi, Choclair, and you know, and then even when Drake first came out, like the City Is Mine record, when I heard that, I was like, okay, cool, we got another one, right? And you know, growing up in that era showed you if you had music, if you had product, and you gave it to the masses, it shows what type of hustler you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, you have to sell it. You don't have to wait for streams. You can actually make a bag off of selling your records.
Yeah. No,
right?
exactly, man. 100% too. And, you know, even with the brand and all that, like, how do you even, like, balance your music career and running the company, like, all together? And was it something that was a process to, like, focus on until that whole process was, like, complete?
It was... I think that was one of my weaknesses because I fund myself. So when I'm doing a project, instead, like I have to basically be frugal because my kids like to get fly. I like to get fly. You know what I mean? I like doing fly things. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it costs money to eat what you want, to do what you want. It costs money to live, basically, especially when you're raising other children. So it's like I had to like step back and fall back. But like I said, when you're a boss, you have avenues, you have people that you know. So like I said, I recorded my brother's house, and when I'm ready to go make a original record, a hit record, or put some money into a record,
Yeah.
I'll go to Cortez.
Yeah.
Then after you do that, then you have to mix and master.
Yeah.
Then you gotta graphic designing, which my brother was doing my graphic designing. Then you gotta do a photo shoot. Cost money to do a photo shoot. My brother was doing the photo shoots. So I made everything cost efficient. But sometimes you drop it, you don't see no feedback coming back from it, you have to start again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. No,
So it was hard. It was hard. But it still is. But I gotta do it no matter what.
100% too. And when you started like running like the cannabis infused like hemp brand and all that, what was that like idea like and all that? Like how was that process like at that time?
Oh, my god brother he came by me with the idea, Stay Fly, and it was just supposed to be rolling papers. And then, me and him sat down and I'm like, yo, let's make it into a clothing line too. You know what I mean? And after making the clothing, let's do trays, let's do cups, let's do this, let's do that, let's do so much other things with it. So like even that was one of the best products I had, because I had my own energy drink before. I had a lot of things that I had, but the rolling papers was a big hit. And it's sad to say that being him, we weren't really seeing eye to eye. So I just went my separate ways, and he went his separate ways. So it was good while it lasted,
True, 100% too. And I mean, like even like just like running the brand too, because like that was like at a time like you can only sell like certain brands to like with hemp, with like lighters and bongs and all that, and like rolling papers, but like you can really like buy like weed like that and all that. But like even like within that process now, like in terms of like running a brand that focuses more on cannabis and hemp products in general, what were like the pros and cons of it, and how did you even like manage to like navigate it during that time when weed became like legal in like 2018?
Well, I'm a weed connoisseur myself, and I know a lot of weed smokers, and I basically used to boycott everything that you smoke blunts, boycott it. Like, yo, don't come to my house smoking no raws or no zigzags. Started like that. Then I started interacting with a lot of business owners that had dispensaries. So I started getting my stuff in dispensaries. I knew a lot of like avenues where I can go and be like, okay, set up shop here, set up shop here, set up shop here. So I made it popping for like my whole squad. Like my godbrother had the idea. He got the idea. He put the product in my hand. I took the product and I ran with it. And I made everybody around me smoke Stay Fly. Everybody. Like I did, as you see, and I did the interview, 10 interviews.
Yeah.
I had the clothing line.
Yeah.
Anytime I came out, we had slides. I was telling people, I'm like, we're the first person with our own shoe. I was making it bigger than what it actually was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the way you gotta hustle it.
Yeah.
So that was, as I said, that was good while it lasted. But now we're going on to different other things now, and yeah, we're gonna go to bigger and better things right now.
Yeah, no, 100% too. And like I was like looking at the post like earlier on today and all that. You actually used to manage YNG Blitz or Young Blitz and all
Young
that.
Blitz.
Yeah.
That's my brother.
True. Like I know recently, I think he's just doing some time right now and all that. So
Yeah, Free Blitz. He'll be home soon.
Home soon? True.
Yeah, he'll be home soon.
True, but like he's doing fine, like in the like selling all that, right?
Blitz is perfect no matter where he goes.
True.
He's a real one, and it's not nothing to brag about. But me and him we're familiar with Joe. We've been there before.
True.
You know what I mean? So he's good. His head's up. He's in great spirits, and he's ready to come home and start terrorizing the city again.
True. 100% too, man. And just like getting back onto the whole like like weed stuff and all that, like even with the dispensaries, because I remembered back then, like even before like the legalization, like there were like pop-ups, but then like the police would do like blockades and all that.
Yeah.
I think they had like even like a news thing where some officers like at Harvard were like just putting like blocks like inside the door, like by like the door and all that, and then just kind of became like legal, and then it's like everywhere and all that. But like since then, how do you feel about like the influx of dispensaries for weed and shrooms like in general, like in Canada? Has it really changed the view of how we view weed and shrooms in Canada, or in that sense?
Well, finally weed is legal. Weed is harmless to me. You know what I mean? So I seen people smoke weed and get crazy, but the fact that it's on every corner, every street, every, you know what I mean, is dope. It's convenient because I go to dispensaries myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's dope. And especially with the shrooms because they microdose it now. So it's
Yeah.
like it's not like you're eating a bunch of caps and going crazy. It's microdose, and it helps you also with your moods and your mental illness somewhat. But I love it. I love it. I'm glad that we finally legalized it. I could smoke weed anywhere I want. I could do whatever I want, and you know, I feel sorry for the weed man. The neighborhood weed man. I feel sorry for him. You got to come through with some organic something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, to beat that joint. But yeah, shout out to all dispensaries, man. I love dispensaries.
I feel like from my take on this, like it is like a little bit of a devil's advocate and all that, but like I think the people who were like jailed for like weed back then and all that, or like who even like did some time for weed, whether like you're selling or you're just like using and all that, they still have that record. Like no matter what, it's still gonna be like binding law like from within that time period. Like I don't think anything can change like even like after that. But I feel like they should be reimbursed in some way or receive like reparations and all that for like even just the situation too, because if they were doing something that is like legal right now and that you own a store and like someone who's like not from that environment is kind of profiting off, I do feel like reparations should be there for the people incarcerated for weed and all that.
But do you know, like, basically, if you're selling anything, sorry, if you're selling anything and the government can't get a piece of the pie and you're successful while you're selling it, they don't want that to happen. They call it illegal.
Yeah.
Right? So now that dispensaries are going in, and I know a lot of dispensary owners, and I talk to them, and they're well off. There's not no hood dude running a dispensary.
Yeah.
Right? They cross their T's, dot the I's, sign all those paperworks, licensed, they can sell whatever. The distribution is just in. They don't have to order nothing. It just comes in.
Yeah.
So that's the new way of selling drugs. They're the kingpins.
Yeah.
So it's sad because we'll never get reparation from it.
Yeah. And like that same guy that like, comes home from jail for like a weed charge and all that, it's gonna like stick unless they put like some money on that to like expunge it. And then, they have to they have to kind of like navigate through this environment right now where they have a record and all that for something that's like now legal, like in 2018 till now and all that. So, you just kind of put it in perspective and all that. So.
Those are one of those things we have to take the L. Like I've been incarcerated for distributing marijuana also. And now that you see it's legal, I'm just past it.
Oh, true.
It's like it's a new leaf. Let's keep it going.
Oh, true. 100% too. I actually wanted to ask this too. Like, I know you said like the whole like idea of having a team is like important for being a successful entrepreneur and all that. But what are like some other qualities that you could like definitely say that can make a successful like entrepreneur and all that?
Patience and being stuck on what you stand on. Consistency. That's my new thing because I was never. If you look at my track record of music, I was never consistent. I would go hem for a year, and then I'll fall back for like a year and a half, 2 years. Then I'll go get busy again. Then I'll fall back again. Because remember, as we were talking about, like life, I had to deal with life.
Yeah.
I had to go take care of kids. I had to be a father. I had to be a son. I had to get some money from the block. You know what I mean? I had to do those things. And then now I'm in a different space. I'm older. I'm more wiser. I know exactly what to do. I know all the relationships that I have is like, it's stuck. You know what I mean? So like coming back out now, the word that I'm going off of, I'm not going off of competition. I'm not going off of longevity. Well, obviously longevity. I'm not going off of none of that. I'm just focused on consistency.
Oh, true. 100% too. And, even from the start of your brand and all that, like working on your first projects until now, do you feel you've grown as an entrepreneur and that you've came like a long way in that sense?
1,000%. 1,000%. Everything. You will see when I start dropping, and I'll be back again when I drop the redemption because there's a lot to talk about with that project. That project is real serious, and the videos are gonna be different. The rollout's gonna be different. Everything's gonna be different. But before then, I was just shooting. I was shooting. My manager had me on. I was to do a show Thursday, Friday, and Saturday every week for like a good 7 years.
True.
Tours with this artist, tour with that artist, do this, do that. And I was doing this without getting paid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then I switched it up and I started the same venues, like Port Alex and things like that. These venues, I hosted there and performed there so much where I knew the owners. So instead of my manager getting all that money, I started doing my own shows. And then bringing my cousin like Jay Jones and Trinity Chris and your boy Got Beats and Lynx, Sadie Buns, and there's a couple other like Jelly Two Fly used to come roll with me. Looney Blue used to come rock with me. Tons of artists, right? Yeah. And I used to just do my own shows and make it more clubbish. You know what I mean? So when I started doing that, it started like you start seeing like, oh, I could do that. So when people are doing it now, I'm like, okay, I did that already.
Oh, true.
I did it already. Let's do something else.
And I guess like the big names were like, actually like from the streets and all that, like a 50 Cent and all that, or like a Lloyd Banks or Ghostface and all that.
Now, and I opened up for Ghostface once. That was a funny story behind that one, but we'll get to that another time. Ghostface, Sheek Louch, Jeezy, Rick Ross, Migos, Soulja Boy, Freeway, Cannabis.
I think Kurt Banks as well too, and like, I know like Jeremiah, like Fabulous, they've came through. Marion too, like a whole lot of other people too. I remembered there was like a lot of like promoters that were promoting like like Troy Ave coming to Toronto or MGK or Tyga and all that. And this is before like the mainstream ones like even like had like those people like on and all that,
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing. Like I knew a lot of promoters. My manager used to be a promoter. So I knew a lot of promoters. So every time I see those shows starts popping up, I just get up in there. A lot of people used to pay to get on those shows. I never paid to get on the show. But I also never got paid to do a show. So I don't know. It's up and up with that. But I did over 500 shows. So like when you have that as on your belt, then you're about to work on your 8th project and your 3rd clothing line. And it's like you did things behind the scenes where rappers are like, or other entrepreneurs are looking at me like, oh, he's not doing nothing. Then behind the scenes, you see, oh, Tay was here. Of course, I'm always working, even when I'm not working. Even when you think I'm not working, I'm working.
True.
Right? So now I made everything Famillion.
No, 100%.
Everything is about Famillion. The clothing line is about to be lit. The movies are about to be lit. My podcast is about to be fire. Y'all got to come and rock with me too. The music's about to be crazier. I'm just crossing my T's, dotting my I's, making sure everything is just magnifico. You know what I mean? So, and then my team is like right behind me. You know what I mean? Instead of dropping one record, because I have a project, I made sure that I have 2, 3, 4 other projects ready to go after this one. As I'm saying, consistency.
No, 100%. I mean? Yeah, I know what you mean, man. And, as you said, you were like actually like doing like shooting and all that, like with videos and stuff like that. To even like speak more on the idea of shooting, you've had like a concert promoter and like showcase agent, like Freddie Fame, like direct your video for like Throw Your Hands. And then my guy Il Vibe, who also like does like rapping and all that. And like,
shout out to Freddie and Il Vibe.
So how was it like having them like direct like videos and, especially since they've been like important figures like in Toronto rap urban and all that?
I know Freddie from when he used to manage Tory. And Freddie put me on a lot of shows. Like a lot of shows. I've even made money with Freddie. Like, you know what I mean? So Freddie was always a good friend. We bump heads here and here a couple times, but he's always a good dude to me. You know what I mean? So when I remember when I started dropping the Blur Part 2. And I needed I was looking for directors. I had no directors. So I know Freddie did videos, but he was just on this green screen thing at that moment. So I said, I don't have a green screen video. Let me go do that. So me and Buns went up, we got fly. Told Freddie has to go do it. Freddie, me and him made that. I was happy with that work too. I love that. But Il Vibes directed basically 90% of my videos. You know what I mean? And me and him did a movie together. Red Market, right?
Yeah.
Which is out now on YouTube. Go click the link on my bio on Instagram. You can watch it. It's 13, 14 minutes. But I thought about that and I went to him. He's like, I never did a movie before. I'm like, neither did I. You know what I mean? So he just figured this out.
Yeah.
So he did that masterpiece, and that was dope. Shout out to Freddie and Il Vibe. Il Vibe is doing big things. Him and his wife are doing it real big. And I'm proud of them. And I'm proud of Freddie too, because Freddie, he's never gonna stop.
Yeah, like I know he's doing the whole like showcase thing and all that. Like
Yeah.
he's getting people like all over. Like I remember, I think there was like this one video like recently, and you know I think a couple guys like tried to jump him or something like that too, and like I think that was like kind of like crazy too back then. But like he was like very open about it, like on an IG post and all that, and he said, you know, I understand like what people are going through with like mental health, schizophrenia, and all that, and.
Yeah.
You know, he did give like a very good viewpoint on that. You know, you have to kind of like live on to like another day and all that. You know,
See, Freddie's humble.
Yeah.
Freddie's a very humble dude, and Freddie put a lot of people on. People need to salute Freddie. You know what I mean? And he's still doing this, like almost 20 years.
yeah, exactly, man.
You know what I mean? He's still killing them, and
Yeah.
I like his new format now, where he takes a Toronto artist that has a little buzz and brings them to Montreal,
Yeah,
brings them to another
like Vancouver
province,
and all that. Yeah.
to get them. They buzz over there. I loved what he's doing, and I heard now he starts like making it beneficial for the artists.
Yeah, no.
So he's treating them like up and coming artist as an established artist. So I like what he's doing.
Exactly, man.
You know what I mean? Shout out to Freddie. And shout out to Il Vibe.
For sure, man. And you know, speaking more on like family and everything like that too, because you know, B.Famillion, you know, it focuses on the family and all that too. How do you even like value like the importance of family like within your music, within your business and your music, and how is it like having like your firstborn daughter like you know make music and like taking it seriously?
B.Famillion stands for Boss Family Making Money, right? Life in life without family and millions. That's always been a quote for us. It's easy because my first artist was always my family members. As he was talking about, Blitz, that's my brother. Sadie Bonds, those are my sisters. Jacinia used to be my artist. She's my cousin. My daughter, she knows how to sing. Obviously, I'm not going to make my daughter go with another label. We can shop her later if she's really established, you know what I'm saying? We can get that popping. But everybody in the team is actual family, right? Even down with Stay Fly, that's my godbrother.
Oh, true.
So like everybody that I work with is family. So we make, or at least damn near family. You know what I mean? Been like Lynx. I know Lynx since he was 16 years old. Lynx is a grown ass man with kids now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His daughter is my goddaughter.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? I was chilling with him yesterday.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? So it's like we have this bond. We don't call each other friends. So it's always family orientated. And the family is real big to me because what is life without your family? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
After you put God first, put your family second, everything else should be the bag.
All right.
You know what I mean? That's it.
100% too. And I know you have a project that's coming out soon, Redemption.
Yes.
So to kind of speak more on the creative process and inspiration, you know, what can fans expect like in terms of like that whole process? And do you know when they'll receive a date on that?
I'm not going to put no dates on it. I suck at dates. I probably wake up tomorrow and be like, yeah, I'm dropping a single. But I'm always different like that. But the Redemption, this project means a lot to me. I made this project since the beginning of the pandemic, and I just recorded the last record probably like last year or sometime. So I started working on another project after that, and then that project's done. So me and Link started working on another project. But Redemption is going to be different because it's an EP. It's 8 records of type of music you can ride in your car to, clean your house to, sit down, vibe, smoke a blunt to, have a drink to. Is a lot of emotions. And that project is basically, I'm being more vulnerable on this project.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a record called Wake Me Up with me and Lynx. I'm going to shop it to the radio, make Ritz go put that proper rotation for me. That song is, ladies are going to love that song, right? Then I got another record called Trauma, which is going to be like my introduction to Trauma is basically a song about mental illness, and I suffer from mental illness, right? So, and I like even being, as I said, being vulnerable is now my superpower. Speaking my truth, being me, unapologetically being me. You know what I mean? So that record is gonna start moving a different way. It's gonna put me in different doors.
100%.
Because me being an ambassador for mental illness and helping other children and helping a mental illness, helping the disabled and the homeless with that project is gonna be the spark.
100%. Yeah,
You
no,
know what I mean?
I definitely know what you mean, man. And I mean, like with dealing with it and all that. Like I know like, many people like they deal with it with music, they deal with it with like meditation or smoking or like just going out and all that. For you, how is that process? Like, is it like just mainly for the music or through like the weed and all that, or like what's like that process in dealing with it?
I work out now. Well, I do therapy 2 times a week. Therapy is dope. I think everybody, if you're going through something, if you need someone to talk to, if times get hard, find a therapist. And there's a lot of free therapists right now. And I just started a nonprofit organization called Family Foundations, right? So we're just gonna specialize in mental illness, uh, disabilities, and homelessness. So with that whole foundation, I'm gonna be able to give people a toll-free number for free therapy, unlimited free therapy, right? So if you need someone to talk to, I love my therapist. This is like my third therapist now. You know what I mean? I love therapy. I can't wait. Like I love it. And it's good for your soul. I work out now. I eat well. I want to stay around good people, good energy, and I start working like a workaholic that I am. And it keeps my mind off of a lot of other things. And I stay away from triggers. You know what I mean? Anything that would trigger me, I stay away from it. Conversations, music, a movie probably trigger me. I won't watch it. You got to know, you know what I mean? So that's gonna be dope. I'm really excited to go and give back and help out people that basically were like me and had no direction when you have all these emotions and feelings filling inside. So that's gonna be dope.
100% too. And, we just have like some of these questions left too for a bit. But what would be like some great advice that you would give to any aspiring entrepreneurs or like people who want to get into like music and all that?
Find your niche and kill it. Don't let no one tell you nothing. Don't let your age, don't let time, don't let everyone's rapping like this now, I gotta rap like that. Nah, be different, be you. That's what music is. Like I came from an era where I come from a place, not even an era. I come from a place where you have to be original. You have to be original. Do you want to sound like somebody else? Do you want to do what everybody else is doing?
Yeah.
If you're doing a clothing line, so you're gonna get a jogging suit now and put your logo on. Everyone's doing that.
Yeah.
Stand out, find your ways. Everybody that I like nowadays is new. It like the new artists and the new clothing designers and the new fashion started doing their own thing. Like Joyner, no one sounds like Joyner. No one does what Joyner does. Simba, no one can rap like Simba.
Yeah.
Witty and clever like that. You know what I mean? Corday, no one has that list tongue. You know when it's Corday's coming on the record.
100% too. And even like on the entrepreneur side too, like I like follow like unique brands that are like kind of like different from the rest and all that.
Yeah.
This guy named Blasi, who actually was in a platform called like No Jumper. He owns like a company called like Nothing Personal. And it's like a collective of styles like that he's like very like interested to. So he makes like like weed trays and all that to like roll your papers and all that. He does like like unique mugs and all that and like certain like brands. And he would kind of offshoot it from like actual like businesses and all that. So I actually just bought a mug just a couple days back, and it had like the similar like style to like 7-Eleven, but with his own like twist to it and all that. For like this like double cup like coffee mug and all that. And then he had like that similar tray as well with that. And then I remembered he created like the shirt one day that had like every like credit card like company and all that too and all
That's
that.
fire. That's fire.
And like I know he did like some stuff with like Sauce Walker and like Lil Wayne and all that in Juice World. And that's something that you have to like kind of like look into and all that too. And that's where like it kind of deviates from like the rest and all that, because others just play it safe and do their own thing, but like others like they kind of take the step notch and kind of
Step out the box.
Yeah.
And that's what it is now, because when we had This Is 416, which is the first clothing line, we did our thing, right? And it was a good stepping stool. But it came and it went. Then Stay Fly, when we started doing the patches and the embroidery and this and that, and it wasn't just only hoodies and jogging suits and t-shirts and sweaters. There was a whole thing that we had planned. You know what I mean? So now I have Famillion University, which is my clothing line. And that right there, we're going to step into leather. We're going to step into sportswear, streetwear, business suits. We're going to step into different fabrics like linen. You know what I mean? We're going to bring velour back. You know what I mean? The embroideries are always going to be crazy. The stitching is going to be, you know what I mean? And everything is going to be in-house. Like my daughter is one of the designers for my clothing line. My team is going to get together because I have a lot of fashionistas in my family. You know what I mean? We all like to get fly and fresh. So we're all going to put our own niches on it and keep them moving.
100% too, man. And, just like with other stuff going on right now, you don't have like any other regrets in life? Or do you feel like you might have like some regrets and all that, just like with the past and stuff like that?
I should have... The only regret I have, it's not even really a regret. I don't regret it. I would just say that back then I spent a little bit more time in the streets than I did on my craft. So now it's reverse. Now I spend a lot of time on my craft. And then when I'm not spending time on my craft, I'm in the crib. You know what I mean? I'm in the crib.
100% too. And do you have any closing remarks you'd like to say? And do you know where they could like follow you like on social media and all that?
Yeah. Redemption will be out as soon as possible. I'm not gonna give you no dates. But my message to everybody: if you want to do something, do it. Don't let nobody tell you nothing. Keep it moving. Find an idea and bring it to life. And if that one doesn't work, do it again. And if that doesn't work, do it again. And don't stop until you get what you want. And another thing, shout out to everybody that's staying strong while going through mental illness and, going through tough times in life. No matter what you're going through, just know, pray, and keep it moving. You know what I mean?
All right, man.
Ow.
100% too, man. And Tao, thank you for coming by and all that.
I'll be back.
It's a pleasure, sharing your story and sharing your gems on life and all that. Yeah. And, we'll definitely have you back on soon and all that. And, this is Josh, also known as Yashu. This is episode 56 and all that. You can get it on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Buzzsprout. We're almost at 60 right now, and we'll definitely keep it going and all that.
Run them numbers up. Yeah, y'all gotta subscribe, do whatever he's telling you to do. Do it.
Exactly, man. Josh, also known as Yashu, TLOY Talks, signing off with Tao Piccasso.
Ow.